cleaned myself out. I did a neti pot yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Just got all the good crap out of my nose, and now I wake up this morning, my nose is clogged.
Everybody can hear that. That's a good way to start the show.
Oh yeah. Good morning. Why you didn't tell me you're going live?
My neti pot.
My neti pot. That should be a song. Whoops. Gotta calm that thing down right now.
Let's do it right about.
I read the news today, a two-bit expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I love
Brain
it. Love
that
it.
fixed and rigged, you know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, it crawls its way under your skin. Just got by on the things they spout, and you should give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
You're tired of the good morning. It is time for the ground. Giles and Jones. Of course,
I'm Giles.
I'm Jones. And this show is, we talk about anything. You know what? This show is designed to make you scratch your head early on a Friday morning and go,
Rethink things.
WTF are these guys talking about? But absolutely, we're blessed. This is the most unique show that we have out there. Why? Because I am posting a link to this show in the social media comments right now. And if you
Want to join us?
yeah, come on out. Feel free. Look, we'll have our good old friend, R.I.P. Uncle Pete, will show us that right there. StreamYard.com/DY975 SEPHGU.
Yeah, it's too much for me this first thing in the morning with that. Just copy and paste it.
You can absolutely be here with us, be part of the show, give us your thoughts, your opinions. Let's have a little bit of fun this morning. Of course, the ground's brought to you through the financial support of
Reese's Bakery and Pautique at 1313 Riverside Drive here in McHenry. Open 7 days a week. And actually, we're having an adoption event tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I think we've got like 10 dogs coming. Maybe more. I never know until the day.
Looking for a new fur baby, a companion for perhaps your own fur baby. Stop on over at Reese's.
Yeah, for sure.
And what time to what time?
I think I'm pretty sure it's 1 to 3. Usually it's 11 to 2, but I think we had to switch it up. So just stop on by, check us out, or check out the website at Reese's Bakery, or check us out on Facebook.
If you're there at 1, they'll be there.
We'll be there. Yeah, we'll be there.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Good stuff. Last week, what a great show.
Yeah, last week was a great show. Must have been nice, right?
It must be nice. And of course, this week's show kind of piggybacking off.
It picks up right off where we kind of left off last week with the must be nice thing and the passive aggressive. And
when is good enough?
When is good enough good enough?
Good enough.
That's a great question.
Now,
I think that's something a lot of people ask themselves.
Yeah.
Not really even realizing that they're asking themselves, when is good enough, right? With just our daily grind, things going on in our lives. When are you done with something? When is it good enough? And that's a hard one to answer because I think it depends on a lot of different situations.
Okay.
And I mean, what you're doing, when is it going to be good enough? I don't know. What's your criteria? What are you trying to accomplish? At least in certain circumstances, where are you going?
Here's the issue that I find old gray-bearded guys tend to kind of ask that question or have chased that rabbit. Our younger listeners, millennials, Gen whatever's going on now,
Gen Z,
they don't care. They just they're not caught up with is good enough. They're not chasing the Cadillacs, the big houses, they're like, hey, all I want is good morning, Lisa. All I want is a tiny home and some freedom to work remotely, and life is life, right? So
And I actually like that. I like that mentality in a lot of ways, because that does pose, like, when is good enough good enough? When is enough enough?
why are you chasing it? That's
And
what I would
right, why
ask.
are you and right, why are you chasing it? Because that was what you were brought up with. I mean, is that, what you saw when you were a kid? I mean, oh, you got to keep up with the Joneses. I mean,
I ain't gonna run fast.
so me,
to
it's
catch
like,
this one.
right. So now the question is why?
Yeah.
Why do I want to keep up the Joneses? Maybe the Joneses have a completely different agenda. Maybe the Joneses are mentally just jacked up.
Yeah, but
why are they chasing something that really has no meaning other than?
So you own more than one business.
Yes.
You why not just own one?
That's a great question. I've actually thought about that all week long. I mean,
at your age, why not retire?
well, I don't ever see that happening. Realistic.
Yeah,
I don't. Retirement to me, I actually thought about that really on the way in here. Retirement to me is having the ability to do what you want when you want, right? Because when we work or we have a job or a career, you're generally working to support the lifestyle you want to have, right? Well, retirement, I just don't think is going to ever really be in my vocabulary. It'll slow down. It'll change focus.
Listen, I'm going to call BS right now on Lisa. Lisa
All
says, "Oh my gosh, too bad I just woke up. This would have been a good one to be at." Oh my God.
Just woke up.
Excuses are like assholes. Everyone has them, Lisa, and they all stink. I'm just telling you.
Good morning, Lisa. I love you still, but hey, Kent is he's got you on that one.
This is the first Friday this show's been on. Shut up. Have a cup of coffee. You should have been here.
Right.
But if you want, tune in on Sunday mornings to Lisa's Changing Perceptions.
She's going to change your perception on Sundays, not Friday mornings.
Give me a backhand,
so,
probably.
But that's a great question that you pose, right? So, retire. Why do I only own one?
She said yes. The two in the studio now. It's assholes.
Yeah. So why only own one, or why own more than one? Because I'm caught up in the chase, and for me it is about the chase. It's about the hunt, the negotiation, the building of it, right? Obviously money is nice to have because then I can do things, but for me it's about a lack for a better word. It's conquering something. It's accomplishing something. I'm getting to something. I want to take this, like my general MO, or for me and my family, is to buy something that is usually an existing business that is struggling, that's having a hard time, and we see better things to come for that. And so my goal with that is to grow it and to change it and to make it a better business and to help our community out through that, because these are businesses that people are going to frequent anyway. So why not have it a local mom and pop, so to speak? Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like the hunter that's looking to go out and kill that animal to feed themselves. Well, for me, I'm kind of that hunter hunting down.
You maim the animal and keep it with you. If you
not at Reese's though, we don't maim any animals.
If you were doing that, you'd get it to a good place to sell it. Let somebody else take care of it, right?
Well, at some point in my life, that will be, the exit strategy, if you will.
How many businesses have you sold? So when is good enough, Scott?
Right, one. So when is good enough, good enough? That's it's different for all people, but for me, I'm trying to figure that out, because it is time to start slowing down a little bit. I've got a grandbaby now. My kids are starting their lives, their careers. So my daughter's had hers for a while. My son just got out of school. So I mean, when people are driving like I am, I think part of the issue that they have is I have that perfectionist attitude. Right. And a perfectionist attitude is a horrible thing to have in my mind.
That's a tough thing to have. Yeah.
It's a tough thing to have, right? Because then nothing is good enough.
Yeah.
And I catch myself doing that all the time. And that's horrible. And I have to think these things, because things are good enough, but I look beyond that, like, oh, this is great. We did this, but it's always that but at the end, instead of saying, we just sit back and enjoy it. For me, it's okay, next. Let's move on. Let's figure out what else we want to do, where else we want to go. I mean, for me personally, the perfectionism, drives me to get up every day, and anxiety like everyone has. I mean, you get up, you wake up anxious. What if, right? So I don't know.
So Lisa, and man, Lisa, if you're sick, I pray that you, if you need anything, sister, let me know. I'll run it over to you. If you need chicken noodle soup or whatever, just
little
let me know.
echinacea, we'll set you up.
Whatever you need, sister, let me know. We'll run it over.
Oh.
Here's why question. Why give a shit? Who cares who chases what? Are you happy? Are you fulfilled? Are you drawn towards something? Do you follow that? Who cares who does what? The problem today is that people make random changes, or a new thought pops up and boom, now everyone better follow this idea. No one knows who they actually are or what they want, and they want validation from the masses that they are correct.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
If you need tissue, let me know.
Yeah, I got some sinuses going today too, Lisa. I just did my neti pot last night. Now I'm clogged up this morning. I think I pushed everything loose. But you're not right there, Lisa. I mean, a lot of those. You're not wrong there. It's Friday.
There was a Freudian slip.
Yeah, there's a Freudian. No, but
a woman speaks. You're not right.
Yeah, you're not right. Exactly right away, right? And that's the thing, and that's a keeping up with the Joneses, right? And a perfectionism. And I think what it comes down to really is, when is good enough good enough? When you're comfortable with yourself and who you are and what you want to be. A lot of people in this world these days they don't know who they are. They don't know what they want. They just go off of basically what, social media or what is expected of them from either family members or friends, keeping up with the Joneses thing. Do you need to have a house like Kent's? Do you need to have a house like mine? I mean, what is it? Most people, I think, aren't talking to their kids about these things, about that life is, it's your choice of what you're going to do. Choose what you want to go, choose what you want to do, how you want to get there. We'll help you get there, and be satisfied with what you have. And our culture is not satisfied as a general rule with what they have. It's always bigger, better, faster, stronger. And I suffer from that because of the way I was brought up. I always saw, the people with the nice cars, the house, going on vacation. And when I was young, we didn't have much. Mom and dad gave everything to us as kids to have a good upbringing, to have a comfortable home life.
Mm-hmm.
We had a basic car, we had a basic house. We didn't really go on vacations. We went camping, which is great,
Yeah.
So that set me up, I think, for wanting more, because I wanted to.
Way to go, Robert.
Yeah, way to go, Dad. No, you guys did awesome. Don't ever think that. You guys did an awesome job, and the reason I am today is because of you guys, because I love you guys and I want the best for everybody. But I also need the best for me.
Can you read what he said there?
Those who prescribe to the philosophy of good enough is never good enough is definitely a symptom of perfection. Right. And the problem with perfection or perfectionism is it's a wormhole that can actually lead to a lot of other mental illnesses like anxiety, depression, dissatisfaction. So if you're always trying to be a perfectionist, and I get it, and I feel it. I'm always driving to that next thing, and so you're dissatisfied with what you're doing. He also says people cling to perfection because they fear the consequences of failing, and that hits it right on the head with that. You do?
Strongly disagree.
I like that.
They are not clinging for fear of the consequences of failing. Is it failing or falling?
Failing. Yeah, no, failing.
Here's the bottom line. Once you are pooped out of your mom,
oh God,
you are programmed that good enough is never good enough.
Through society.
From day one. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. You hear the word no 750,000 times more than you hear the word yes as a small child.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good enough is not good enough, right? In school, then, you strive for a smiley face, a gold star, and if you don't get that, what happens?
Right.
Hey, little Johnny.
I don't know. I never got the gold star.
The entire educational system says here's how we want you to think, not that we want you to think. Okay. You do your best, and yet you fail at a test, but it's the best that you could do. And they say you're not good enough. We are programmed from day one in this society, in America,
Right.
to say that good enough is never good enough. I can't look at you and go, you know what? You got half of them right. Congratulations.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which
Right?
is the way it should be.
But what I say is, you didn't pick up.
The other 50.
You failed. You failed. Right? But this is the best I can do. No, it's not. Right? And you have those conversations with people with kids. Always have those conversations. So, and then all the marketing around everything. Marketing has brainwashed our society to say good enough is not good enough.
You need this.
Take a look. What were they back in the day? Walter Mathis televisions, the big console televisions everybody had.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Right, and they lasted forever, and it was actually a piece of furniture. And now what happens? Hey, your 1080p
4K
50-inch TV isn't good enough. You need an 80-inch extra digital zippity zappity bippity boom.
Right.
Then there's nothing wrong with the TV that you're looking at.
Yeah, it's all about bigger, better, faster, stronger.
It's not good enough.
Right.
We are trained. Everything that we ingest. Oh, it's not good enough. Now we have superfoods. Not good enough. A good old carrot isn't good enough. Well, now you got to have superfoods, kale and right? Hey, Mountain Dew doesn't give you enough sugar and kick in the face, so now we've got energy drinks.
Yeah, right. Bang,
right?
energy.
Everything in our life, we are told, is never good enough.
Right. Yeah. When when the big thing of sales and marketing, which is what I graduated college in, really came about, we started. That's what we're pushing. We're pushing the fear of loss, right? The fear of not keeping up with the Joneses, right? So then, what are you thinking about? You're going, well, I do need that 1080p, 60-inch to sit around on my couch and do nothing instead of sitting around talking to my kids or playing cards or helping local shelters or what have you. Instead of you're being programmed. That's why television is called TV programming. People, it's programming you to think and look a certain way.
That's what I'm saying.
You're no matter who you are. And one thing is people have to accept is you are who you are and accept who you are, right? And stop worrying about what other people think, right? And that's what all this TV and all these advertising has said to us. It's not good enough, right? You need a new car. Why do I need a new car?
Programmed. You're programmed. Lisa says, if I listened every time people didn't agree with me, I wouldn't be doing anything close to what I'm doing now. My family left my life over that. Yeah, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
Good morning says, for me, forward momentum doesn't have a finish line.
Well, there is no finish line. It's a journey. That's why you hear that all the time. It's changing, adapting. And here's the thing: good enough to you, or good enough to me is totally different. But if you're wanting to move forward because that's what you want to do, right? Not because you're trying to keep up with somebody. If you're wanting to change yourself and better yourself and learn more, that's great. That's what it's all about, right? To make you a better person, to live your best life, whatever that may be. Your best life might be living underneath a rock, right? And watching the stream go by. Your best life might be a teacher. When is it good enough? We don't know. That really comes to us. And really, when you say good enough, that actually comes down to, you can actually throw in the word adequate. Is it adequate? What I doing adequate, right? Am I achieving an adequate success? Well, then you got another question. What's success?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what's success to you is not success to me, or vice versa. So is it adequate? Or is it adequate? Is it enough? I don't know.
I don't know. Was Rob's?
You keep making me talk to my dad's. All right. So he says, at the core of perfectionism lies a view of self as weak, flawed, and easily rejected. Perfectionism can result in chronic tendencies for emotional distress and interpersonal conflict. Absolutely. And it can also lead to, like I was talking earlier, when you're having this perfectionism conflict, it can actually lead, because you're dissatisfied with yourself, that can lead to anxiety, stress, depression, because the view of yourself, which is the most important view in the world, if you can't view yourself well, and you can't appreciate yourself and accept who you are and what you do, it's a downward spiral, and you've got to, and that's the big thing today with our society is self-esteem, right? Being a individual. There is individualism for me, I feel is lacking, is falling away to the wayside. Everybody wants to fit in together. Everyone wants 1 million followers on Instagram, or likes, not even followers. They want likes, right? The individualism, I think, is just falling away from our society because of the advertising that never is good enough. Need a bigger house, bigger car, more things. I've fallen victim to it. I'm pretty sure you are to a certain point too, even not even realizing it.
Well, yeah, that's why I say I think we're programmed, but uniqueness and individualness is, I think I think there's a lot more than you would think, because I think that's what is causing a lot of anxiety and people being mad and arguing and things, because I'm not falling in line with the way,
right,
perhaps you or your side or whatever your R or D or whatever is in front of your name, and because I think differently, now you're going to yell at me and get mad, because we don't seek to understand, we first seek to be understood, and that's a problem in life. Let's see. Lisa says, I find it interesting how other
I'll read this. I'll read this one for you. I find it interesting how other people are uncomfortable when you are comfortable, when you are not okay with the norm. Silly example is my hair. I advertise my hair piece to help women with hair loss understand that they are not alone and don't be ashamed. And is rare when somebody doesn't say, don't tell people, they would never know. Why are they uncomfortable with me saying it?
You've got hairpiece?
She's with a hair club from women.
Hairpiece.
Yeah, she's got thinning hair, but she's a beautiful lady. She puts it on.
Did she say she's got hairpiece?
Yeah, hairpiece. But
know,
that's but you know what? For the people that don't that say that to you, Lisa, those are a self-esteem based issue. If you love who you are and you accept who you are,
what she's saying she is.
Right? No, I'm saying she is.
But
the people are uncomfortable because they have a self-esteem issue, right? So they wouldn't want someone to know that. Oh my God, I don't have perfect hair. This perfectionism, right? That plays into it.
Society has placed great value on beautiful women. Right. I don't.
What's beautiful?
I used to get Coors Light because every time I would open it, I would think that
those girls were going to pop out.
Clad ladies would jump out in the snow.
That doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, son of a bitch!
Then you're just stuck with horrible.
You're just stuck with horrible beer in a Blue Mountain, right? Well, and that's sad, because that is not an uncommon thing in this world for people to be like that. And people care too much about what other people think, right? I mean, like with the perfectionism again, is good enough good enough? Perfectionists care about what other people think more than anybody would ever know. The perfectionists have lower self-esteems, have lower self-worth, and that's the reason that they're pushing to be better, to prove to everyone else instead of themselves that they are better.
You see that,
and that's
in this
leads to mental.
In this republic, this great nation that we have, this republic of ours, it's a capitalist society. We've turned into a capitalist society, and I can tell you that our nation will never let good enough be good enough.
As a nation, no.
Because we're capitalists.
Right.
And the more money you can go into, you have goals for your businesses, and you're going to push and encourage your employees to hit numbers because you have bills to pay and goals. And you won't just say, hey, you know what? We made absolutely no money this month,
but here's a bonus.
But good job.
Yeah.
Here's a bonus. You showed up every day. We love you. Here's here's a steak or whatever, right?
Good morning, Tim.
Morning, Tim. And of course, being part of a capitalist society says good enough is never good enough.
Right. It's chasing the next squirrel.
Right.
It's chasing the next squirrel. And Shayna says here that People are just chasing chemicals. The latest, greatest, whatever gives a bump in the feel-good brain chemicals. Alas, temporary. Boy, I wasn't sure where she was going. That chasing chemicals, but you know what? And that is true. You know, when we get that bump of serotonin in our brain, that feel good, or like the oh my God, what is the chemical that hits us when we're in love, right? Like when we're comfortable.
Cialis.
Yes, Cialis. No, that's your wife's name. Stop that. No, it's not norepinephrine, but the Sarah. So, and anyway, Shane is right. We're looking for that bump. Yeah, Lisa will tell us, but you're looking for that chemical bump, and that's one of the things that is huge in our society that's causing a lot of problems is with our cell phones and social media and all that, is people are getting those bumps every time. These cell phone companies, you guys watch the special on the whole design behind Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these noises, is it's meant to actually cause you to have a bump in serotonin. That's why when your phone goes, you can't wait to look at it.
So Shannon says, I think Scott's dumb.
Wow, I think so too. Yeah.
I disagree with Scott. I am a perfectionist and keep my own counsel, and I am not insecure or reliant on the opinions of others.
Well, Shayna, I appreciate that. I just this is something I did. Yeah, oxytocin. There you go. I did some research on it, and this is, you are not the standard. You are not typical, because if you look it up in a lot of the DSM manuals and just the dictionary of what perfectionism comes down to and symptoms of it, that is the base definition of it. And you are definitely different than most, and that's awesome, because you are independent and you think for yourself, and it's important, and more people should be like you. Maybe you're not a perfectionist, maybe you just like to do things right. Right? And when is good enough good enough?
Maybe she is a perfectionist. This is a great topic and should stimulate the mental juices of all your listeners. Recognizing perfectionism tendencies can lead to a very rewarding life if addressed properly and channeled in a positive manner.
Right.
And then Shannon says, I disagree with Scott. I'll just keep coming back to that.
He likes the fact that somebody disagree. I'm glad you disagree with me, because, I mean, perfectionism doesn't have to be a negative, but the way it's used today and the way a lot of people were brought up, that's what it is. Just like Kent brought up earlier. Wait, that's not good enough. You didn't get them all right. You have to be 100%. Wait a minute. Maybe that's just not me. Maybe I'm a 60%, or maybe I'm a C student. Come on now.
Perfectionism has many layers and many reasons. Yeah. What I think we tend to forget in life, Lisa, is that your life is like a 7-layer salad. There's so many things. There's professional, there's family, there's personal, there's love, there's self-image. There's so many layers to what perfectionism is, right? I always say in my mind, I still am that 22-year-old, 175-pound, carpenter that was in great shape when I got married. And when I step out of the shower, there's an old man,
that
saggy,
can't see his
saggy
willy,
and ugly, looking at me. Who is that old guy? Right. So it is interesting. I think that good enough. You should never settle for good enough. You should never settle for good enough. Right. And the reason is I think you stop growing. Right. Now, there are things, depending what you're doing, right? As a rough framer, the people who framed in a house, if you're within that 1/8 of an inch, it's good enough, because the brick guys are going to take care of it.
Going to fix that right up, right?
You know what I'm saying? Or the sheetrock guys will mend that, right?
Right.
That's good enough, in life, though, if you settle, then you gotta constantly be growing. You gotta constantly be challenging yourself. You have to constantly be pushing yourself to do better, to get better, right?
Right.
There might be parts of your life that are good, right? That are great, and that's wonderful. But if you continue to stretch and strive and grow and You know, if we settled for good enough here at 21.6 a net, y'all wouldn't
We'd be
tune
off
in.
We'd be off the air by now. We'd have no listeners.
Because we continue to stay crappy with a lot of stuff.
Not at this show. So let me. I just pulled up the definition of perfectionism. Okay, and it says perfectionism in psychology is a broad personality style characterized by a person's concern with striving for flawlessness and perfection, and is accompanied by critical self-evaluations and concerns regarding others' evaluations. Okay, and then it says, while not considered a mental illness itself, it is a common factor in many mental disorders, particularly those based on compulsive thoughts and behaviors, like obsessive compulsive disorder and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And then
right, but understand what I'm saying. Don't settle for good enough, but you don't have to be perfect.
You don't have to be perfect, and that's when you're saying when is it good enough? Right? Is it adequate? Does that meet your standards? And it depends. So when is good enough? It depends on what standard you have, right? Do you want a house half painted or completely painted? Some people, when you drive by their house, you can say, right, is good enough. My yard's somewhat clean.
Right.
That good enough? Why?
And do you challenge yourself in your relationship, if you're married or have a significant other or whatever? Do you challenge yourself to go? You know what? When I was courting her, we did this, or now things change and move. But am I doing something that we enjoy doing together, instead of having her yell at me to pick up my feet while she's vacuuming?
Take out the garbage.
You know what I'm saying? No, that's what I got kids for. Right. Robert says the three types of perfectionism are socially prescribed perfections, other-oriented perfectionists, and self-oriented perfectionists. The approach of healthy striving can help people find the middle ground between high performance and damaging overachievement. Yeah, I mean, at what cost? And of course, this Wednesday on Two Bald Guys and Mike, that's the topic that they'll be talking about at 5:30 on Wednesday. Is what's your exchange rate? What's your cost? What are you willing to do? I think there are things you have to accept. I think there are things you have to accept as good enough. If it's why you can't change and can't repair.
Huh?
Read
that again. Start over. Scratch that.
I'm trying to go around the camera.
Hold on, I'll do that. Yeah. She says, I think there are things you have to accept as good enough. If it's what you can't change and can't repair, many focus on not setting what the situation is and what it is, using energy and focus on things they can expand and that they will take them into their new horizons. Yeah, that was a mouthful to kind of read, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lisa, you forgot to use commas and periods and all that stuff.
She's biblically writing. Yeah, so many do focus on settling when the situation is what it is. A lot of employees do that. I did good enough. I can get by this 8 hours.
Right.
You know what? I got a sale. I'm good enough. It's that's good. Brought in some money. Now let me coast. Right.
Yeah, I'm good enough. I did what you told me I had to do. I'm not going to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? So the typical workforce person, right? I'm only supposed to make this much happen in a day, and I made that happen, so I'm going to sit around the rest of the day. That's called laziness. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
You guys flubbed that all up.
Yeah, we did. That wasn't written very well.
Thanks for tuning in. As a matter of fact, speaking of flubbing it up right now, here on the grounds, it wouldn't be the grounds without a little shout out to our good friends, Barris Brothers, Berres Brothers Coffee Roasters. Today, we've got chocolate caramel. Chocolate caramel. And I'll get this right up there, and from Watertown, Wisconsin. So we'll get a good look at that. Look at that, Barris Brothers.
Yeah, it's got wonderful flavor to it.
Yeah,
it's got a really good aroma. Kent is more of the aroma guy. For you guys that don't know, he did own Planet Coffee there for a while. He knew when good enough was good enough.
So
it was time.
It's got a good chocolatey aroma, a little bit of caramel set in there, but a very smooth, non-acidic coffee. It's not overpowering with flavor. So sometimes when you get a caramel flavor, you're like, whoa, or a blueberry or something. It doesn't taste like coffee. This tastes like you get more of the hints of the smell.
This
than the
tastes like it
taste.
sells, right?
Yeah,
It says it's
yeah.
it's a chocolat,
Chocolate
chocolate caramel, and it's got a little hint of both, and it's not overpowering.
On a scale of 1 to 10 pucks, you're giving it.
I'd actually probably go with like a 7 puck, and I'm not
Going
a
with a
huge
7
coffee
puck?
guy, but
Yeah.
I mean, my wife makes a killer coffee, and this was something I would think she actually would have concocted because she adds a few different things. So yeah, I'd go 7 pucks on this
Yeah, I'm
one.
going 8, so we'll give it a combined 7.5.
All right,
good
Karis's
stuff.
coffee.
Barris Brothers, appreciate you sending us a quick little sample here. And if you have samples that you want us to give a shout out on the grounds and get a good puck rating, then go ahead and send an email.
He ddid say puck rating, by the way, guys. The P, not the F.
Send us an email and or jump online at www.216thenet.com. And after you like and subscribe to our YouTube page, because we want to get 1,000 subscribers.
We want to get
So if you're
1,000
out
subscribers.
there,
Yep.
we would love to have you subscribe to our
That's
YouTube
our goal.
channel.
And I think would we be good enough when we got 1,000? Is that enough?
That's a good start.
That's a good start. Yeah, for sure.
We want everybody in the world who's got access to YouTube.
Right.
That's when it'll be
Well,
good enough.
And right. And
When
well, our
Jesus
goal.
himself.
Yeah. Well, when it'll be good enough for me, and like Kent and I talk about, our goal here at 216 the Net's people, and specifically on the grounds, but 216 the Net is a daily dose of encouragement to people to make the world a better place every day. If it's just one person, just one thought, even if we give one person just a better one day than they had, right? They have a little pick me up, right? Yeah. We're doing what we want to do. You can't change the world overnight, but you can do it at one person at a time, right?
Yeah, good to see you again, Don. Happy New Year from Grapevine.
And that's one thing that with the good enough thing, right? Are we setting our expectations too high? Are we looking too far?
No, we're not.
Are you sure?
Shayna says, I grab nuggets of wisdom from across the 216 spectrum.
Thank you.
The other day it was mentioned how important it is to keep checking in with yourself to make sure what's happening is still aligning with your purpose. Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the big things. And that's why I say, I don't, if we would have settled as cave people, we'd still be living in caves. We wouldn't have a wheel. We wouldn't have, we would still be dragging our women around by their hair,
right?
And then fighting saber-toothed tigers or whatever.
But maybe we are striving too much and pushing too far, because why do people also? I had to go on vacation. I'm having I'm mentally drained, and they go sit out in the forest, which is what I love to do. I love to go sit in the mountains or in the forests, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe it's too much, right? When is good, because that's where I feel the best for me. The good enough for me is when I'm sitting out there in nature, staring at what God actually gave us, and that's good enough for me. But because of the way society is and the way we've been programmed, all of a sudden it's like, all right, weekend's over. Got to get back out there and start hitting the hump and figure out what's my next venture.
Don must have his earbuds in. He says 1,000 is not good enough.
Yeah, he says it not. We need a lot more than 1,000. Not more than 1,000.
Yeah, sorry. No one listening is setting their goals in life too high. We are here taking advice from Kent. Yeah, the bar is set low. Shoot low, Sheriff. They're riding Shetlands. That's what they say. Deidre, good morning. Let's go to Turkey Run State Park.
Is that good enough? Where how do we get on Turkey Run State Park? I'll talk to you after the show, honey.
Yes,
but when is good enough good enough, right?
I mean, going to Turkey Trots.
Right. So right. So with Lisa though, she says no one listening is setting their goals in life too high. We are taking advice from Kent and Scott. I'm a
funny one.
I know, but I'm just you can actually think about that. Ba-da-boom. Yeah. But take it. I mean, we take advice from everybody.
To ruin your day.
No, I like it. That's why I'm going through it. I mean, because are we setting our goals too high? Or are we not setting them high enough? Are people just going, you know what? It doesn't matter, because it's a catch-22, right? If you don't set goals, you don't grow, and you probably don't feel good about yourself if you're not.
People don't set goals anymore.
I disagree.
You can, but they don't.
I disagree. So there's not as much out there, and that's part of the reason I think
show me yours.
My goals?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to show them to you right now. I'll show them to you after. I have them. Oh, trust me, I've got them. Yeah. My thing is my goals change. They morph nonstop. And as I get older,
Yeah.
What's good enough to me changes. And it changes almost on a weekly basis, to be honest with you. More and more that I read, and the more and more things that I do, and the more and more that I talk to people and see things, I kind of I'm realizing more and more and more that, a lot of this shit really doesn't matter. What matters is if you're doing what you want to do, and if you're a happy
Believe that.
person, and if
So-
you and if you're taking care of the things that you want to do, and you're
Listen.
not hurting people.
Listen, here's what you need to do. The bottom line is, good enough is never good enough, and it shouldn't be in your life. You shouldn't settle, right? And I think that if you truly understand that, that's what makes us grow. If good enough was good enough when we were a baby and we stood up, that would be good enough.
Right.
We would still be
You don't
crawling.
need to run.
We'd still be crawling. Wouldn't need to walk. Wouldn't need to run. Right.
Well, that's the nature of the human being, to adapt, change, overcome. Right.
So is it built into our DNA from birth that good? That's why I said it's from birth. Good enough is never good
So
enough.
but it comes down to the situation, right? What is good enough? When is good enough good enough? Are we talking money? Are we talking Are we talking personally, socially, mentally, physically?
Yeah, that's why I say your life's
So
a
what-
7-layer salad. There's a
It's
lot of layers
right,
in
right.
there
So
that
and
go
that's
into this.
and at what and but what point at what part of your life is it good enough? Because I think that some people are okay and they have settled with that. They figured out what's good enough. But
if you settle that good enough is good enough, then you're doing that to please someone else and not yourself. You're doing it to please the masses, as it was said earlier, right?
Well-
Otherwise, your life is you got to continue to push. You got to continue to strive to find things that make you feel happy, that make you feel joy, that make you feel love, right? And in order to change what your goals are, you would have to accept that they were that where you went with prior goals is good enough, so you can let go of that and move forward. There you go. Boom.
Don says, good enough is healthy when it's a driver. It's a negative when it becomes overwhelming and cause one to freeze up or be in despair. That's exactly what I'm talking. That's what I was saying earlier about if it's when you're getting into that good enough, that perfectionism, because usually that's what falls into, or what we've been taught, right, to be. And that's when it becomes overwhelming, because now you're starting to worry about it too much, and then you're losing sight of things. It becomes overwhelming, and then you get nothing done well.
Well,
You just freeze.
say that again.
So when you have with like when is good enough, right? If you keep going to something and you're getting overwhelmed by it, you just give up on it. You don't do it, right? You actually end up hurting yourself because you're overwhelming yourself. You just don't end up trying to finish it because it's not going to be right. So you give up.
Right. So it was never good in your mind.
In your mind, yeah.
So that doesn't mean that good enough was good enough, because it was never good.
It wasn't, because they
Right,
had too much expectation.
Right. So we can throw
and
that away.
and throw that away. Right.
Right.
And that's where the perfectionism comes in, because it's not going to happen. So they're not happy. So some people will just give up on it. They'd rather do nothing than do it poorly.
Right. So they can never get to good.
Right. Well, what is good to them, though?
Obviously, they can't get there because they give up.
Or they move to something different.
Right. The old saying, a goal achieved no longer motivates, but that doesn't mean that it was good. I mean, the goal was to get up and poop this morning. Well,
I achieved that
great
goal.
goal.
Great goal. I
Right?
achieved that
Now
goal.
my day's done.
Right.
There
Well,
it is.
and that's
I made it.
and that's a huge thing for people these days too. And that's where, and for me, that's helped considerably with setting small goals, not huge goals. Like when they, the whole the SMART goal and synonym,
Mhm.
SMART, right? Simple, manageable,
Measurable.
measurable.
Yeah.
But the A? What the A? I
I
couldn't.
don't know.
But so anyway, basically small little tidbits that you can attack, not big, huge, audacious ones that you're going to fail because you put too much on you. right? And that's you need to have those little small ones so you can actually have something to accomplish and continue to move forward. Too many people are setting too big, audacious goals, and then they don't get close to them. They give up. They're like, that didn't work.
But here's the problem. You're good enough. You're projecting onto your kids and saying they need to do better than I did. I want a better, I got to give them a better life. Don't settle. Keep pushing when they might be going, hey, man, good enough's good enough. And as a parent, you keep.
And as a parent,
you down their throat going, no.
Right.
No.
Yeah. And as a parent,
right?
We need to actually recognize that we're doing that, because I'm guilty
right?
of that.
I think we all are.
Right. I'm guilty of that, because you want your kids to have a good life. I don't want to necessarily say a better life, but a good life, right? One that they enjoy, one that they've created, not one that they think they need to have.
I go back to a story that Pete always told, and he, his grandpa, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Pete said, happy. And his grandpa goes, what do you mean? That doesn't make sense.
That's a great answer.
Right. And I think the issue is if we go back to that as a little 8-year-old kid that Pete was, or however old he was when he said that to his grandpa, the idea is I look at my kids and that's all I want them to be. I want them to be happy. They're going to stub their toe. They're going to run into the same issues that I have. I can't be naive to that. And I can be there to love them and help guide them, but I can't be there to say that's not good enough, because they're living their life, and maybe it is good enough, and encourage them to keep getting better and celebrate when they do get better, just like when they were a kid. I got, my son is 27, but I celebrate all his little victories and things with him, because that's what I did as when he was a little infant. Yeah, buddy, nice job. I love it. Hey, Dad, I got this broken toilet. Well, let's try to figure it out, Right. But those are things, right? The trick is to label the good enough, quote unquote, for yourself only. Perfectionists' drives can make it difficult to stay out of stories that we have no business in. Yeah, imagine defining perfect for someone else. Exactly. And that's the tough thing, I think, with our society is, where I work, I really respect the owners of the company. They're just brilliant individuals. They're good human beings. And I strive to do right. And so that they go, we're glad that we brought you on board. Right. So you're looking for their feedback to say that you did well, not you're doing it because you're doing it because that's your job and it makes you feel good to do your job. You're more worried about what they're saying. No, not at all.
What they feel.
No, not at all. I've got a reputation that I carry for myself, and I want to live up to that reputation. And just like this show, I don't want to show up without giving any thought to what we're doing. This isn't just willy-nilly, right? People don't understand.
Right.
There
is some thought behind this whole show, right?
We have meetings outside of this show, and we talk and to put things together, and who's going to play the good guy, the bad guy, things like that, right? But the idea is that I appreciate and I'm very humbled for the opportunity. So I want to do the best that I can, because I am humbled to have that opportunity. If they don't like what I did, good on them. It is what it is, and there'll be another place I can work or find another job or whatever, right? But the idea is I respect them as human beings, so that's the reason that I want to give them the best that I can and keep pushing myself to do that.
Well, you're doing the job that you were hired to do.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what you get paid for.
Yeah.
Right.
You can have a big goal. What should be set are milestones towards it to keep you motivated. And so anyway, listen, call up Coach Papa for the goal setting, and that's not what this show is about.
This show is about good enough, but
good enough.
If you don't have some type of set plan or idea, how do you measure what's good enough?
I don't. And again, I'm going back to is it good? Wonderful. Not good enough. That's not in my vocabulary. It shouldn't be in yours. You should strive to do better. In your relationship with Christ, strive to do better. Is it good enough? Do better. Get rid of the enough people.
Right. Could it also be a word? I said adequate. Could it be acceptable?
No.
Are you accepting? Well, no, why? Think
No.
about it for a second. Is good enough good enough?
No.
I'm accepting that what I did is good enough,
Right,
right?
that's
Like
what-
I did what I wanted to do.
Listen to what I'm saying. Get rid of the word enough. Is it good? That's wonderful. Do good more. Do more good.
There you go.
Right?
Do more good. I like
you
that.
have to get rid of enough. When is good enough good enough? It's never. Get rid of enough.
Right.
There should never be enough. There's not enough love in this world. There's not enough good friends who can punch each other in the face, hug each other. And God, I really appreciate that. Thanks, Scott.
Right.
There's never enough. There's is it good? If it's good, be happy with good and go get more good.
Right.
Right. Go after more good.
Yeah. The enough. So let's throw that word enough
right?
out.
Get rid of enough. That's the whole thing.
That's what's
right?
thrown with everybody, right? So so Bob says, so can it be said that good enough is good enough if it fits your personal goals in life? Yeah, I think so.
Nope, get rid of the word enough.
Okay, so let's read it this way. So can it be said that good is good if it fits in your life, in your goals in your life? Good is good.
Yeah, if it's good, great. It's good.
Is it, or is good adequate? Is adequate?
No, adequate's not good.
Adequate's not good.
Good is good.
Is acceptable good?
No, good is good.
Good is good.
Right.
But if you did what you wanted to do and it was good,
right.
Are you accepting of that good, or do you need more?
So Don says we should always strive to be better, but don't let it be our idol. Right. More gooder.
More gooder.
That's right.
More better. My daughter said more better when she was more good.
Yeah, I love the serenity prayer for that reason. The wisdom to know the difference.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Want versus need, right? So the idea is, you can do good and fail, there many of our listeners out there. You have done good. I might even say you have done great in your profession, and you've been let go, downsized.
Right.
That's just life, man. That's life, right? But you did good. Love good. Be good.
Well, accept what you did was good, right?
That's it.
Doesn't have to be enough.
What is Beth? Beth, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Beth. Oh, knocking down the microphone. 216. So Beth says, when my girls were younger, we'd talk about how they did in things like tests or games, etc. I often asked them if they tried their hardest. If they answered yes, then they'd be okay with the outcome. But if they said no, then it would often follow with something like, I probably should have studied more or practiced more. I think we have to stop looking at others and just analyze ourselves. 100%. But unfortunately, our society has put us to the point where we're looking at everybody else, and we're paying attention to everybody else, and we care what everyone else thinks. And we're trying to measure up to everybody else instead of measuring up to who we are and what we want to be and where we want to go. It's all about keeping up with the Joneses, right? And better.
That's what you're programmed.
And being good, right? That's what you're programmed, right?
Look at little Lisa over here. Straight A's. She sets the curve. We know. Lisa, come up here and say, will you grade these papers for me, honey? Right. You're doing great. Right. She's in second grade.
Right.
Right. So we are programmed. Everything that we see, listen to, whatever, program better, program better, right? To not settle for good enough. What I'm saying is get rid of that. Just
get rid of enough. Right.
Is it good? Take a look at your life. People, now take a look at your life. And if you want to compare it, don't compare it to Scott. Go compare it to Mbamwe, who lives in the jungles of, South America someplace.
Well,
your life is good.
Well, don't compare it anyway, and try not to compare anyway, because comparison is the thief of joy.
Right? Your life is good compared to people in other parts of this world. Widen your scope. So say, is it good? Am I happy? Yes, wonderful. Go.
Right.
I have talked with several homeless people who love being homeless.
No responsibility.
You didn't lose a job? No. You didn't want to? No. this is the life for me. I'm happy. I'm content.
Right.
I'm good.
Good.
Right. So
Right.
so I think in all due respect, we have to be able to say, at least his hair is good. Just good enough.
Right.
Right. That's it. Right. And
Well, for me, you say the good, right? Is what are you using as criteria when we're raising our kids? What are we actually, not what school does to them, but what are you telling them? Like when they get that grade, let's say, like with my son, I tried. I don't know how well I did, and he might tell me later if he's listening, but I tried to tell him I'm not so much worried about the grades, right? I'm worried about if you learned, if you change, if something, if you got a C, but did you learn something? Did you pick up a life skill? Did you pick up something that you remember the rest of your life? If you did, I'm good with that, right? If you didn't and you didn't do your best, then it's up to you to try better. But if you're good with it and you learn something, I'm satisfied. It wasn't a C is good enough or an A is good enough. It's what's good for you and what you're trying to get out of it. And did you learn something, right? So the good enough is something that I tried not to program into them, right? Because it's out
but
there.
you did
unknowingly.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, you did, just by the way you live your life, the things that you chase, right? My kid, you could, yeah, she can be on one of these shows. She's wonderful. She's a brilliant clinical psychologist. But she's like, Dad, you wanted us to be perfect. I'm like, no, I didn't. She goes, yeah,
Is that your coach?
I go, no, I didn't. She goes, no, you did. I go, all I wanted you to do was your best.
But your best is perfection.
And in that, as I reflect back on, oh my gosh, the way that I came across probably was, you need to be perfect.
Right.
And
we all do that. We all do that because we want our kids to be better.
It's just the way we live.
Right. And that's the thing that as people, parents these days, if you're just raising kids, it's celebrate the good stuff and don't say, but. Like for me, I would say, that was awesome. You did great. But next time, let's do this. But next time, let's do that. Celebrate the good and make it enough.
Sure. Don says, only phrase where I am okay with the word enough. All you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough, quote unquote. Yes, and the word enough means what? Right? The word enough to me is like this is the song that never ends. 8 is enough. That was a great show.
It was a great show. Right? Yeah. So the dictionary says enough is as much or as many as required. Pronoun as much as or as many of something as required. You need to get enough of the right things to eat. So.
See what I mean?
Right. So I mean, it's
a word. It's almost an undefinable word,
right,
in most people's lives, right?
And it's used after an adjective or adverb or verb, right? So all the time, right. He wasn't old enough to vote.
Right. So simply put, it means if you did all you can do, nothing else you could have done. There's nothing else you could have done. Yes, and that's where you ask, did you do your best?
Right.
Did you give it all you had?
Right. And if you did, great. Accept it and move on.
Right.
Because it is what it is. What are you going to do to change it? Next time, learn from what you did or didn't do.
Yeah.
And next time, make it enough in your mind or make it good. Make it, do what is expected of yourself, not what someone else expects you to do. Do what you expect and want for yourself, not what someone else tells you need or what. Else. Right. Right.
Yeah. So
I mean, you go to school to learn. After.
Listen, never change who you are, right? Try to enhance who you are. And when it comes to is good enough, get rid of the word enough. Is good. And if good is good, then hallelujah. You're going to be happy.
Right.
Because most of us inside truly want to be good. We want to be good to each other. We want people to be good to us. We want good.
You want good, and they want acceptance.
Goals that will push yourself as far as you can go. But just get rid of the word enough.
Yeah, And people want good, and people want to be accepted.
Yeah. Hey, Bob says, your show today was good, or was it good enough? Obviously, you tuned into the wrong station.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
don't know. Good is not necessarily how this one will be rated.
Well, we're hoping the show
right.
was actually great because we're here trying to make people think. We're
Yeah.
trying to make you actually look at things from a different perspective. You might not agree with us, but that's good. That's kind of what we want. We want you to think about what we're doing, what we're saying, and why we're doing it. Not just go through life going, yep, that's it. I'm done with it.
That's it. Of
And
course.
we're at the bottom of the hour, guys.
Of course, that music means one thing. And Don says, my daughter played volleyball. I would tell her I would never be upset if she made a mistake. I would be upset if she did not give her very best. Good is good. Nice show, guys. Absolutely.
Guys, thank you for tuning in today.
That's
Happy
it.
Friday. I hope your week was good. Have a great weekend. And like every day, every week here on, just go out, hug somebody, love somebody, give somebody some encouragement, and let them know that they are good.
Big day today.
Not good enough.
Big day today here at 21.6 The Net. So come back at 9 for Bridging Civil Tension with Bill Wallace and myself. We're going to be talking about woke racism. And then come back at 10 for the Success Journey podcast. And then noon, you've got It's Your Move. And then at 1, the Neighborhood Pulse 3 and Noah, Steph, and Joe. Tonight at 8 p.m., a brand new episode of Dream Home Experts. Big day here, 21.6 The Net. Thanks for getting caught in the net with us this morning. Enjoy the coffee. Our good friends over at Barris Brothers Coffee Roasters out of Watertown, Wisconsin. Thank you so much. 7.5 pucks on that one this morning.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you. See you next week. Be good. Be safe. Stay warm.